all that
tonight, so I'm not worried.
Okay.
Oh, that's where my wife's at right now. She's ripping those Chicago's probably.
Wrap it up here, guys. I'm trying to get.
He gets really antsy if you keep talking after the timer goes off. It
yes, I
bothered
do.
him last week too.
Because I'm ready for battle.
It bothered him last week.
I have to Tim Jones. What am I doing?
Because who the hell is Tim Jones?
Tim Jones.
I don't know. Who'd you say?
Tony Robbins. Oh,
same thing.
How do you not? You don't know who Tony Robbins?
Jones.
I don't know what. Listen, I'm a Jets fan. You have a Green Bay Packers side hanging. I'm all thrown off.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We're in it, everybody.
5, 4.
Welcome everybody to episode 18 of the Model Mindset. We're extremely fortunate to have one badass human being on the podcast today, and that is Gaby Schwager. And now, Gaby, for those of you who don't know who Gaby is, happens to be best friends with my wife. So I am very lucky to know Gaby on a personal level. But now Gaby's backstory is that she is the entrepreneur and CEO and founder of Stars Marketing, which is a talent agent for social media influencers and reality TV stars such as Below Deck and Big Brother, just to name a few. And she's also a hustler when it comes to the real estate game as well. So Gaby, welcome to the Bottom Mindset.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and get to chat with you guys today and just talk everything good, bad, and indifferent about what's going on and where I came from and how I started. And definitely want to hype you guys up too, because I remember when you first came out with this, Brian, and you told me about it and I was like, episode 1, boom, I'm listening. And so now I'm a big fan of you guys. So I'm just as honored to be here with you guys today.
Thank you,
Gaby. Thank you.
Of course.
So for our audience, just to kind of get everyone up to speed, how did Stars Marketing all begin?
Sure. So as you mentioned, Stars Marketing is an agency for reality TV stars. We work with them for social media promotions. We work with them in their reality TV space, meet and greets, events, that kind of stuff, as well as just social media influencers, because that's really what a lot of the world is seeing, at their fingertips all day. So years ago, my husband was in the sports field and he was doing meet and greets with like Derek Jeter, Rivera, super cool space to be in. And I was lucky enough to get to go. Yeah. I mean, it was not a bad Tuesday when you're having dinner with Jeter, right? Like, I'm not going to complain about it. So I was, get to go to these events. I would see the fans and the reactions and how they were just so excited to be there. Mostly, typically, were men, and the women, the wives, the girlfriends, whoever came with them were kind of like, oh my God, what am I doing? Well, I personally am a sports fan, so I was excited as a woman. But I was kind of listening to chitter chatter, and it was kind of like, oh man, I wish so-and-so from Below Deck, or oh, I wish so-and-so from The Bachelor was here. Like, I'd be excited to see them. So that kind of sat, in my mind.
You're eavesdropping.
Totally. Absolutely. 100%. I wouldn't be a good PR person if I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah,
so
no, that's
yes.
good.
That's true.
So fast forward a few years, we moved to Florida, and it's my birthday coming up. My husband reaches out to Captain Lee from Below Deck. We were just personally fans of the show, and he sends an Instagram or a Facebook message. Oh, we're going to be in the area. My wife's a big fan. I'd love to surprise her and have you come and meet us, kind of thing. My husband's the worst at keeping surprises. Like, he'll give you a wrapped present and be like, here's a pink scarf. Like, okay, thank you. So,
great guy. Shout out to Eric and your son Dylan.
Yeah, they're watching some game out there right now. So he couldn't keep a secret. So he told me that he reached out to Captain. And of course, I'm like, okay, he doesn't even run his own social. No one's going to respond to you, that whole thing. 2 weeks later, he gets a message. Hey, Eric, Captain Lee here. I'd love to come meet you. So, okay. We're at the bar down in Fort Lauderdale on the pier, and he comes walking up with his wife, Marianne. And we end up shooting the shit for like 2 hours, having drinks, just enjoying ourselves. A couple months go by. We kept in touch, and I'm like, I really want to do something else. I did the whole stay-at-home mom thing. I did some other little jobs, and I wanted to do something in the reality TV space. I have that like social media mindset kind of thing. And we reached out to him again. And I was like, hey, do you have a marketing manager? And he's like, no, I don't. I do all my own stuff. I was like, great. Sign with me. So we kind of opened the company, and he was our first client. And, in a lot of different corporations, like you get the big whale, right? And then they all follow. Yeah. That was him for us. So now we're at 7, 8, 19 officially signed with us. We have a few exclusives, and it just kind of spiraled. We got a lot of Below Deck, and then other reality TV stars were reaching out. They were saying our name. I've been to a lot of BravoCon in New York City. Holy goodness.
Right, yeah.
That kind of stuff. And we just took off from there, and we've just branched out and grown the company for 4 years now, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. So with that being kind of like new to you at the time, were you ever like really apprehensive or nervous about kind of, mingling with these people and maybe feeling a little in over your head at points? Or
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I still think there's times now that I feel that way. And, separating, because I am still a reality TV fan as a non-company too, right? Just myself personally. And there's times that I'm starstruck. I'm like, oh, that's so-and-so. But I'm professional because they go, oh, you're the agent who did this, can I have your card? And, that kind of thing. So I've been able to compartmentalize that, and I'll go home and freak out later. But in the moment, it's business. That's what it is. But yeah, that wasn't the space I was in. So it was a little different. But I'm also a big believer in everyone should be learning all the time, no matter what, whether you're, 100%. Like learning in the field that you're in or learning something different. Right. And, so I am 41 years old, and I'm taking classes on Instagram Reels. But I need to,
It's true.
Yeah.
Because social media probably keeps that part of your business evolving like all the time though too. You know what I mean? Because it's changing. It gets going from YouTube Shorts to Reels, and then, LinkedIn Learning, whatever it may be. There's so many different things that kind of have that hot streak of 4 or 5 months where it's like the thing, you got to be on it. This is where you're getting all your interactions and all those things. So I'm sure that kind of evolves too, where you got to learn on the fly on a lot of those, learning those and how to use them.
It'll come to a screeching halt. Like you get the algorithms down, and then Instagram's like, just kidding.
Yeah.
And then they, flip it all up. So it's so fluid. You know what I mean?
That's just, we were just talking about that, 20 minutes ago, PG?
Yeah. We literally watching
videos on algorithms. Yeah. So it's like, we're trying to figure it out ourselves because we have, content we're trying to push out, obviously, to people who don't see our stuff regularly and all that. So it's like, all right, well, how do we reach them? But it's just the new 2023 Instagram algorithm was like in the video. So it's like,
just dropped. Like,
why has it changed?
But also we didn't grow up, none of us grew up with this at our fingertips, right? Yeah. We all did things that I will take to my grave, and so will my best friends from 5th grade, and nobody knows about it. No one snapped about it. It didn't exist in the world. So that's a really amazing part of our, childhood that we all had. It's not the childhood our children have or will have. So it's different for us too, like my kid works Bluetooth better than I do, so it's a different world. So yeah, you're right. You have to keep keeping up and keep learning and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I have to address the elephant in the room. Which
my empty house that I just moved into? No, okay.
But I appreciate you going that. See this on YouTube,
just in case. Viewers, but, I think you might have 6 now. I don't know.
Yes, thank you, Gaby. Yeah, hey, let's go 7. But okay. I read that Captain Lee is going to be leaving Below Deck. Is that true or false?
So what I can tell you is if you're watching the current season, and I don't want to spoil it for those who are not watching right now, but there was a health issue in the first few episodes, and Captain Lee did leave the boat. They're on right now in St. Lucia, and he did leave the yacht, and Captain Sandy came in and replaced him for, a few episodes, a few charters. But the season is not over yet, and he will be returning back on TV into our living room.
There you go.
He's the stud of the team. He's not going anywhere.
Right. You heard it first. And my mom is going to be relieved. I'm just going to say that. My mom is going to be super relieved.
I know whenever I post on Instagram, it's so funny because, sorry, I cut you off, but a lot of my friends are super into this, reality TV stuff. And I'll just post a quick selfie of me with somebody, whoever it is, and then I'll get like messages, oh, you're hanging out with so and so tonight, and like it's so funny that because that's who we grew up watching for 10 years, and now I like call him to check in and say hi and see how his coffee was, so
that's awesome. And it's awesome too to get to know him on a personal level rather than
Absolutely.
what you see on TV, because he portrays this character that is rather intimidating.
Yeah.
But from what you have said to Val about him, he's a wonderful human being.
He is.
And so it's good to see that.
Yeah, he actually, hold on, can I reach over here and see if I can get this?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
We had him last year. Everything's still in boxes, so it was like right there. We had him last year at the Panthers, the hockey team here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but we had a Stars Marketing and Captain Lee jerseys made.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it was Captain and I, and our jerseys at the game.
That's cool.
And he was just like wrestling around with the mascot, who's a panther. It's just
That's awesome.
He's stern and strict when it's business, but then he's a teddy bear.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He knows how to enjoy life, but also take business serious.
Right.
Definitely.
And so, it was super interesting giving the background how Stars Marketing came about, how it was created. And I was listening to an Ed Milet podcast the other day with Amy Porterfield.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy Porterfield is amazing in the online marketing space. And so she had said that, now again, I would like to get your perspective on this, but a lot of times women don't start a business because they feel everything must be perfect. So they choose not to start a business because everything is not perfect. Do you find that to be true, or can you maybe see where that could be, I would say, stopping women from becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think both. I think that I can see how it is true. I've had conversations with other females, friends of mine who've started their own businesses and have felt the same kind of thing. Social media lends itself to being perfect. And so I think a lot of people don't want to necessarily hop on and like do a crazy reel or do something funny to promote something because, I'm going to look like this, or my house is going to look like this, or whatever the case is. And of course it stops you. And as a female, you've got a different aesthetic that you need to keep up with when you're putting yourself out there, right? So I think you're up against that visually. I joked around about like throwing a hat on and a sweatshirt like you guys do, and you both look great. I wouldn't do that, I want to, but I wouldn't. I just feel like women have that, that extra thing. And a lot of women who are wanting to start businesses, I think it's the idea of wanting to be perfect, but also there's a huge guilt factor, especially if you're a mom, right? If you're a mom and a woman, okay, I'm going to start something. I'm taking time away from my kid. I'm taking time away from my husband, where stereotypically, now I know it's not, way back when women are in the business field, but stereotypically men do that, right? And so a man's going to go out there and do this and start something, and good for him. A woman's going to go out there and I'm going to do this, and she's going to get questioned, right? And so it's harder. And I think that then follows with, well, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it perfect so I don't get questioned, or so that it looks okay. Or it looks right or acceptable in the eyes of whoever's judging me, which most of the time, no one is judging you. You're judging yourself.
Right. Exactly.
You're judging yourself, and you're your worst critic and your harshest critic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a different mindset for women, especially when you've maybe had children and taken some time away from the workspace. Or even if you haven't, and you're just a woman in general, right? You're not always welcomed with open arms to ideas.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of perfection absolutely comes into play, and it's unfortunate.
No, it is. I mean, and on the other end of that now, so where you are now, obviously you're established, you're comfortable in your role, you're comfortable in what you've accomplished now. So does the other side of that kind of flip at a certain point, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm a badass and I'm owning this. You know what I mean? And like, you're taking pride in it. And then other women who are around you, you're empowering them. Like, is there a collective on the other side of that where you're kind of like, all right, it can be done. I'm doing it. I'm proud of it. let me show everyone else who may be struggling with that how to get to my point. Does that happen, Sue?
I think it does. And that's a great question. I think that, I think it gets to that point, but I think you have to really work hard at surrounding yourself surrounding yourself with other women who have gotten to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've gotten to that point because they've listened to another woman who's gotten to that point.
Right.
For me personally, I have a very good friend of mine who's opened up multiple businesses since we've been friends for 7 years. I mean, like, I joke because every time she calls me, I'm like, what LLC did you do today? You know, because she's just investing and that's what she's doing. And she's a mom of 2 and she's a kick-ass mom and she's at every soccer game. And she and I always joke around, like, we're always the ones running in heels, like on the phone, but like, we're going to make the game, you know, through the fields. And, I think there's a shift that happens.
Yeah.
I think it's partly, you stop caring, you know, as much.
Yeah.
If someone's not on board with my success or going to support me in my success, like, I don't need them. You know?
Exactly.
There's a saying, and I'm going to butcher it up, but it's like, you find out who your true friends are during your wedding planning and funerals, right? You see people who they really are. And I think starting a business to that list, because the naysayers that I got from friends of mine who I'm no longer friends with and shocked about versus those who are like, I'm going to tag you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to share your thing for you. Like,
right.
You think right away that immediate friends and family circle is going to do that. Not always the case.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And sometimes you have to defend yourself to your friends and family who you shouldn't have to defend yourself to. So I think you learn a lot and you learn how to just have a thicker skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, you're so dead on with surrounding yourself with like-minded people because it raises your thermostat, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, and John and I have found that out. We're a men's group where it helps us talk about, our struggles openly, but it also helps motivate us because, our other friend Josh has his own business, a real estate agent. He goes after life and it's motivating to John and I because we have this big goal and we're very focused on it. And like you said before, we're not letting fear kind of dictate our decisions anymore. We're going after it. And if people kind of may not be supportive of that, we have that just tunnel vision. Like we're still going, If something doesn't work, it's all right. We take the lessons, but we keep going.
Yeah.
And it sounds like with you, it's like you're leaning on the resources that kind of have that motivation. You can pick their minds to kind of say, hey, what can I do here to maybe think outside the box? And they'll give you that information because they want to support.
Right. I follow an Instagram page. It's called The Female Lead. Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Everything they post, it just resonates and I love it. But they posted something recently and it was about, specifically for women, women tend to get catty. Unfortunately, that can happen, right? But it's surround yourself with women who will say your name in front of powerful people. And it's like, you want to be with someone like my friend Dawn, who I was mentioning before. She will drop my name in front of a ton of reporters or whoever it is. And she'll be like, here's her contact, reach out. And I'll get, hey, Dawn mentioned you can do a story with us or this, or you want someone who's going to put you out there as an important person.
Right.
Not, this girl's
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that's, again, that can work for men too, obviously. I just happened to take it from a female page that I was on.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. It's tough because a lot of times when people have a tendency to, be in crowds like that or where they're talking about maybe things that they're working on, that's what they want the focus to be on is what they're working on to get their own shit out. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to put your own shit out, but to be able to have that skill and that awareness to put other people out there too. It's like, because we talk about it all the time, like you can't accomplish things on your own. Like you need an army of people in your life to kind of move the ball forward for you. And that's kind of how we are, I mean, we lean on these people. We lean on people like you who help us out all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, we need that. And I think the more awareness we could have in those fields and kind of have awareness of how to do those things more often, it would help a lot of people out. We wouldn't have
absolutely.
these struggles and these silly arguments and these battles and all that. It's nonsense half the time. You know what I mean? So if we just support one another on stuff, be proud of each other for stuff, dude, it would be so much of a better place everywhere around you. It really would be. It
seems like a simple concept, and it's upsetting that the majority don't typically, adapt that concept or accept that concept.
It's like an ego. It's an ego thing. I feel like within themselves, and then it projects on others. You know what I mean? So that's where people's shortcomings may come into play. But like you said, BG, man, it's all about tunnel vision. Just put your head down and work. You know what I mean? The people who want to work will come with you too.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so, Gabby, with Stars marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the title, marketing. So what are some things that you will typically do, or maybe you can suggest for, small businesses, aspiring businesses like John and I with our podcast and also fitness and coaching? What are some maybe key areas to really focus on to either grow a following or maybe to show that, hey, you know what? These guys know what they're doing. How should we market ourselves or a small business?
So, I mean, I know we sat down and we all kind of chatted a month or so ago about this. And I think that people getting to know who's behind that Instagram page and people getting to know who's putting this information out there for whatever the business is about, whether it's how to make mason jars or how to, run a podcast or sell a house, whatever it is, whatever knowledge you have, if you're able to share that with the world, right? Someone's going to connect to that. I didn't know that. Someone's going to want to hold on to that. And when they get to know people behind that page, behind the keyboard, it feels more real, right? It's like a reality TV show in a sense. Yeah. These reality TV stars come into your living room and they act like your friends because it's not, Brad Pitt. It's not actors who are doing a different role. It's them being themselves. And oh, look, she had eggs for breakfast. Me too. It's a different connection.
Yeah,
and so you're able to connect with people. I think that organically grows most of the time, the following. And then you kind of find things that your group, your following, your fans are interested in and keep, pushing to them. There was a brain exercise. I'm assuming John posted it this morning. Where the 2 columns about doing something out of your comfort zone or every day that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. Get out there, get on Instagram Live, which Brian, you did a couple weeks ago. Do those things that make you feel uncomfortable because that's going to help you grow and that's going to help market yourself. It's a scary world though. It's scary to feel like you're being judged and watched and, looked at sideways. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think everyone can relate to that. It's almost like it's the fear of others' opinions, and that's why people will not take any action,
Right.
And I just kind of want to ask you this because this is my own personal feeling, but I feel like social media, especially with either posts or reels, to me, it almost is an art form. Because John, I want to call you out right now, man. You are gifted when it comes to our social media posts, man. For real, I got to shout you out. I love you.
Appreciate you.
And
I like the one you just posted tonight about being, present and stacking gratitude.
Yeah, like that's awesome. And even the music. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Like I
didn't think Brian did it. I didn't.
First of all, I have 2 boys, so thank you, Gaby. If you were paying attention to the video, there were girls.
Oh, thank you. I'm well aware. They were snowboarding in the snowsuits. Yeah. Thank you very much. I watched it.
So, anywho, back to the podcast. So, with me thinking that it's kind of an art form, it can kind of be intimidating.
Yeah.
Is there again, I always am stuck with a marketing tactic that I learned back in college, which was keep it simple, stupid. With a post for a new business or something, do you have any recommendations for to make it maybe not intimidating and just, hey, focus on maybe what the value you bring rather than making it perfect or something?
Sure. I mean, I think that the keep it simple, it definitely makes sense, right? I mean, you want to, you have 8 seconds. Theoretically, that's the span of someone's going to watch something. And if you haven't caught them in the first 3, they're not even staying for 8. So that initial hook needs to be there. A cute kid, the dog, whatever it is, right? Those kind of things will hook somebody in, and then you can kind of go into what you want. Brian, you did I believe it was a healthy hot chocolate video.
Damn right. Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, that went well.
Were not good.
That went well.
Me.
Yep, I did. I called you and I yelled at you.
Oh, hold on.
That was painful.
We're gonna backtrack now, real quick. I didn't hear about this. This. So you called him and told him that, like,
did you see that video that he posted?
I did see it.
It was like the worst 3 minutes of my life. It was like, he's like, I'm putting my cocoa
my
in.
podcast here with John. I mean,
It was terrible. And I was proud of you at first, right? I was like, okay, this is going to be, I mean, it was painful. And, I was just, And you even hashtag hot chocolate, which is literally what you were making.
Like, you know what? That's learning experience, Gaby. That's learning experience. Basically, so you know what I learned from that? You don't do a 3-minute video. You do it in 10 seconds, and you move on with your life, and you pay attention to the hashtags.
Literally, that's all you had to do. I mean, it's just
that's fucking hilarious. That is hilarious.
It's okay.
Exactly where you live.
Yes, actually, I just moved, so you don't know where I live now.
So
right. Sorry. Okay, back to focusing.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So yes, there are definitely ways to, start basic. Starting with stories is the easiest thing to do. Every company, every entity, every person who wants to grow something on social, not like mom and dad sharing their things. If they're a business, they need to post 3 stories a day. And your first story should literally be like, what are you doing? Like waking up, making my coffee, and then the next one has more intention onto your plan for the day, or something you're going to, sneak peek to this that I'm going to, or, that kind of thing. So people want to get that inside thing, but you can start by stories. And most people have an iPhone. And after you've done like 4 or 5 stories, your iPhone will literally be like, hey, want to make this into a reel? And if you just click yes, it'll make it for you. And then you can poke through and see if it's cool and put it up there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ways to do it simply. It doesn't need to be transition and this and that. Like, it doesn't need to be that in the beginning. It doesn't need to be that really ever, right? You just need to get someone to watch it. Yeah.
And that was the hardest part, I think, for us starting off, was trying to figure out what wouldn't come off as self-centered or, like self-serving, right? But you're trying to get your shit out there and let them know, this is my message I'm trying to get across. This is what we're trying to talk about. And, spread the word on these topics that we're talking about. Right. But at the same time, it was like, how do we get our point across where we're kind of keeping to our true identities? I mean, obviously we're pretty wild personalities at times, whatever like that. We're pretty easygoing and stuff, but at the same time, you don't want to come across unprofessional or you don't know what you're talking about. So there's so much of a balance you're trying to strike sometimes too. And I felt sometimes when I'm making my first selfie video, right? And I'm like, this is the most uncomfortable thing in the world.
You're promoting yourself. Who does that? It feels weird. Absolutely.
It's super weird, but you have to do the uncomfortable things. And I would sit there and I'd be like, that's all I see on my feed though, is these types of videos. So clearly it's how people are digesting information. You know what I mean? So it's you have to do these things. So the whole comfort zone thing, you have to break that real quick when it comes to social media, because it is hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to maybe come across awkward sometimes, but
and vulnerable, man. You're vulnerable.
You are. You're kind of just putting your shit out there, and you're going to
put your shit out there, man. And then people, no matter what, especially too, the more I don't want to necessarily say successful you get, but the more success you have, I hate to use this word, but the more haters you will attract.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at LeBron James, man, that dude is probably been the best at his sport for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
The man is 38 years old. Yeah, the man is 38. I mean, Michael Jordan, come on. The man is 38 years old, but he has a lot of critics.
Yeah.
And I mean, off the court, he's been good. He stays out of trouble from what I know.
Right.
But he will have haters. And it's because in my opinion, when you're that successful, you're that great at a craft, you're going to have that, and you kind of just have to have a thick skin about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's definitely hard to achieve, and that's not achievable overnight.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I joke around. So I do, stars marketing, but I also, yes, I'm a real estate agent too, and that's another job that I do. And it's funny because I work with businesses and people and teaching them how to promote themselves and build their brand online. But I barely post about my real estate because I don't know. I literally don't know why, but people will call me. I doubled my following. I did this with your program and blah, 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 blah. Amazing. But, I have friends like, oh, like I had a closing today. Right? Great, huge house, amazing closing. I don't even post about it. Like, because it goes back to what you were saying, Doug. I don't want to be like, hey.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. It feels weird and uncomfortable.
It does.
But I'm going to tell people to do it because that's what I should be doing. I should get a mirror and teach myself. I know how to do it.
So that's a real thing then. Yeah, exactly.
100% it's a real thing. And
do people...
I'm sorry, it goes back to we didn't grow up with this, right? Like the 12-year-olds now, they're
exactly right.
Snapchat, oh my God, dancing, all that.
Shame. They will see people making TikTok videos like in the hallway of Target. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
There's zero shame. So that generation will not have a problem promoting themselves or selfieing it out. We do. We didn't do that. We just didn't do that. And so it's a very uncomfortable, unnatural thing for us to do.
Yeah. So do you have you come across any of like your clients who are like uncomfortable in that sense too? Like obviously these people are like, some are celebrities or reality stars, whatever that is. Do any of them have levels of discomfort too with things that go about them? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Typically the younger generation and obviously social media influencers specifically, they're all fine. But some of the older reality TV stars, they work like Captain Lee, he's clearly one. I mean, if I need something done for him, like an ad for something or whatever it is, I will go to his house and just do it because, he's like, no. But I have some who are in that, 30-year-old space. It really is based on your age, I truly believe, and what you grew up with. And it's not even necessarily that they're uncomfortable in front of the camera, but maybe they're uncomfortable doing certain things in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to work through that a little bit.
Gotcha.
But also when you're getting paid for something, it's an expectation, right? It's a job.
Exactly.
So you're going to get out of your comfort zone, and make it work.
Right.
But have you noticed the growth with, for example, we'll use Captain Lee.
Yeah.
Have you noticed growth from when he first started to like now he's more comfortable, he's more willing to put himself out there because people to see that side of him?
Yeah. And he's on TV, and we joke around all the time. Like he posted a video maybe 2 years ago now of a video inside of his cabin. It got like 200,000 views because we see all the insides, and I'm like, Captain, that's what they want to, that's what people want to see. It's very interesting, what captures audience. And with Instagram, you can measure everything. It's all measurable, right?
Yeah.
Likes, engagement, how much time someone spent on your reel. You can see all these things and then you tweak from that. Like you can look and see when your most important, most popular time to post is, and you find those things in your insights and then you post at that time.
Yep.
Right. It's there for you. It's a tool. So I think people can slowly start to get more comfortable, like along the way.
Right.
That's awesome.
So with, you mentioned obviously, being a mother and all that, you seem to be busy. You got real estate, you got the marketing, you're juggling all these things, right? Did you have an initial point where you were having a hard time striking a work-life balance where, you started to feel like, wow, my work life is really this plate's getting full now. How do I juggle my personal life with this? How did you kind of navigate those waters?
I'm literally still swimming. Like I don't have an answer. It's a very hard thing and it changes very often. I can get really good. And I know Brian personally loves the morning routine. And that's something that is also part of my daily habit. Otherwise I'd lose my mind. It's
Hell yeah.
hard. You know,
I
it's
thought you
hard.
voted coffee the other morning too. Was
I
that
did
right?
vote
Did you coffee is life? Yeah. So you're
Good job
you're
doing a poll. Look at you doing polls.
See, I'm taking your advice. This is
I know.
Listen.
I'm telling you, my heart like gets warm every time I see you listen to something. Again, I know it's you, John. I know it's you.
You know,
I'm just saying.
if it was cocoa is life, then it would be BG.
Yeah,
but like,
Cacao.
it'd be. It also looked terrible. Like it didn't even look yummy. It didn't look good.
really bothered by this cocoa.
It was bad. It was bad. It was
I
bad.
had to put in chocolate liquid stevia, and it was delicious. Okay, so
God,
you can't
don't
just
even
have
lie.
cacao.
When we hang up, you're going to go back and you're going to go onto your Instagram
I'm gonna
page
have
and you're
to
going to
watch it
rewatch
now.
this whole video with a different mindset.
I might.
Dude,
I
don't
might.
watch it. It's 3 minutes long. It's not. Don't watch it, please.
Sorry.
No. But yeah, so I think that the work-life balance is hard. It's very hard. I think one benefit and also negative part is you can do everything from your phone, right? Like I can work from my phone, so I can be at sports games and I can be at a school event and I can do stuff because I can handle an entire PR issue from my fingertips, literally.
Yeah.
So I think that
could be a blessing and a curse, though, because
Agreed.
then it's like you're working nonstop.
right, 100%. So I think that, but then that comes into different play. Find a balance within that, right? Like find a balance of non-phone time, right? Like I also do a lot of my work from my laptop, which again, I can have a hotspot anywhere. So
Exactly.
I think that the balance is physically being somewhere as much as I possibly can. My son's 9, so there's a lot of after school sports, a lot of activities, stuff like that. Like I was joking with him the other day, I was outside and we're always kicking a soccer ball, throwing a football. And I've mastered like the one hand, whatever it is. And, I closed like two deals while I'm like running routes, right? Like, you just got to do it. There's no option.
Right.
AirPods. I know we have the headphones on now, but AirPods are the best thing in the world because you can, as a mom, I can do laundry, dishes, cooking, cleaning while I'm on a work phone call. Not a Zoom, obviously, but a regular phone call, so you just kind of find ways to make that happen. And it's important to me. Like I'll prioritize. I've learned to say no, which is hard.
Was that hard? Okay. I was going to say that. Was that hard?
I mean,
because do you feel like you're saying no to opportunity sometimes? Like, do you feel like you're saying no? Okay.
I feel like I'm saying no to like a third brunch with these people I'm saying no to, I was saying
to
no
the
to
expendable
a lot of
things in your life.
Yeah. Like I was saying no to a lot of social stuff. And then I also realized that really, I needed that. So I stopped saying no to that. And I started saying yes to those things. And then I started saying no to like, I don't need to go on 5 field trips. I can go on 1 and my kid's happy. Right.
Yeah.
So figuring out that kind of balance, and saying no to, like I was the president of the Moms Club, in the town that I am in now. In Florida, when I moved down here, Dylan was 9 months old. I knew nobody. It was a great opportunity, the Moms Club. So I became the president. And then I was just on the board and I'm doing all this extra work. So the extra ancillary stuff that I don't need to do, but someone else who might not work could do that. Right. So those things I've been able to kind of say no to. And I've been saying more yeses to the social stuff because I've been able to, I guess, be more productive and more efficient in my work. So I don't feel that I'm drowning at 8:30, that I can go, have margaritas.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's huge too, because that's also could be an outlet where you can have meaningful conversations with people that, not only support you, but that you love, and I think everybody needs to have those meaningful relationships because again, it's good to have that awareness to make that shift. Like, again, I could say no to this, but I know this is going to fuel me. It's going to help me,
It's hard though to know too, it's hard to just say what's right. Like, I went out a month or so ago, do you guys have Naked Tacos by you? It's like
no,
a taco place.
Ours are fully closed. Yeah. No.
Really?
Dad joke.
Florida.
Dad joke. Nailed it.
Florida, just we don't care down here. So But the naked part is like a lettuce, right? It's like a lettuce taco. So, but it's a really great bar. It's an awesome just place in general. And so I went out with Dawn, and, she and I show up, and it's like a Wednesday night, and we're out to have drinks and food. And it was the beginning of January, and we both show up with like notepads and pens, because I know we're going to sit and drink and have fun and catch up. But we also just planned out a whole 2023 goal calendar, So
Love
it's like
it.
you
I was
can
gonna ask you about goals. Wow.
See,
Look at that. Yeah.
you can do those things while you're being social as well, when you're surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded.
Right.
Like I don't want to go sit down, and no offense to people who like brunch all day, but I don't want to talk about that. Like I don't have a tennis skirt to talk about. Like that's not me.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for those people. That doesn't work for me. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do both.
Right, exactly. So with that now, like, what other outlets do you find yourself having? I mean, everyone has stress in their lives and all that, right? But how do you, with all the things you're juggling now, there's obviously stress that goes with that. So is that something that's kind of evolved over time too, is how you've figured out how to manage those stresses and what your outlets may be?
Yeah, I think so. I don't, again, I'm assuming John posted today, it was today, I believe, the emotions like all kind of tangled up. And then the emotions, separated out.
Yes, of course it was John. Okay, let's just say that. Let's get out of the way. Okay, all right, let's get it out of the way.
So I kind of did that with my ongoing to-do list in my head, right? Because I've got my mom to-do list, like Dylan's lunch, the permission slip, this thing tomorrow. Then I've got the laundry, that stuff for my husband, like his work schedule, my travel schedule. Traveling is a lot when you have kids, a husband, a life, like you have to plan out so much stuff. So I was kind of able to, that model that you posted, take feelings out of it and put, to-do list underneath it. And once you kind of compartmentalize and separate out each thing, it's like, oh, that's really not a bad task. I can actually get that done right now. Right. And then when I've done that, I also take about 45 minutes a day to do nothing. I just, like, my phone goes down, my watch goes off.
Yeah.
And it changes every day. It might be a walk outside with not even music, like literally nothing. It might be laying in my bed for 45 minutes, quiet. It might be watching a show that I just want to watch by myself, whatever it is. But I really try to do that. Sometimes it's in the morning, from like 5:30 to 6 before my kid gets up. Sometimes it's in the middle of at noon.
Yeah.
Whenever I can do it, and self-care Sunday, like,
ooh, okay.
Self-care Sunday, 30-minute foot massage.
Sushi, is that sushi and wine?
Or sushi and wine. Like, we have a really cool wine spot by our house, where we'll just grab like charcuterie boards from Publix, the grocery store, like little individual ones. You can grab a bottle of the wine from the place and sit there for 2 hours with some friends and just self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care.
There you go.
That's awesome. And so, Gabby, you touched on it, talking about goals for 2023 when you're talking with Dawn. And, we mentioned Dawn a couple times. We might as well give her podcast a shout out, which is the Empowered CPA.
Yes.
Check it out.
She's fantastic. She and I had a great episode. It's worth listening to. She's hysterical. It's just,
for sure.
Good.
Yeah. We're looking forward to catching up with her in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
When you are looking at like that conversation, for example, with Dawn, for 2023, what kind of goals were you looking for? Were you looking to maybe grow Stars Marketing and then personal goals? Like, what kind of goals are you looking for? Is it typically quality over quantity? Or because I've heard that one way to really sabotage yourself is to have too many goals. And it should be quality over quantity. But so I just kind of want to get your take on what your goals are for 2023, professionally and personally, maybe.
So I think that's a fair statement. Overwhelming yourself with goals and having, I gotta get all these things done. One way I kind of look at it, you could have 10 goals, but if 3 are short term, 2 are midterm, and 4 are long term, does that equal 10? I don't even know. Then whatever. It's kind of
makes sense.
Listen that one back on.
Yeah. Then it's like, then it's like they're not all overwhelming at once, right? And a lot of times goals 1, 2, and 3 need to happen before 8 and 9 can happen. So I think it's more of a spreading it out. I think the quantity won't matter as long as they're achievable, right? Everyone needs some sort of immediate gratification. I will literally in my daily to-do list write down, have a cup of coffee, because I can then cross it off. So it's done. I just did something, right? Yeah. Even if it's a small, drive my kid to school, did that, like whatever it is.
So progress. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like,
those things matter.
Yeah.
Those things, I mean, we talk about all the time. I mean, when we do our, you do your core 4, I'll do my LEP method, and we put stuff on there that's, I mean, every day, water and vitamins are the first 2 things I write down. I know I'm going to do it. It's simple.
Because you're going to do it.
Like, I have to mark it off, though. You know what I mean? I have to say I did that. You know what I mean? But that builds routine. That builds habits.
And it makes you feel accomplished.
Other things. Exactly.
Yeah. Like you've accomplished something,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but obviously growing Stars Marketing Group is a goal. Keep growing my real estate business, which I've been doing, is definitely a goal. Socially, I kind of touched on that. Getting out more is a goal, and it's hard.
It's a good one. I like that.
It's hard to do. I know, Brian, I don't know if I can, somebody talk about Val on this. She can call me tomorrow if she's mad. But, she was just down here visiting me in Florida, and we talked a lot about meal prepping. And literally I was like, put it in your agenda, make it an appointment. When you make appointments, like if someone called me and said, hey, can you go to lunch tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I have a dentist at 3. I can't. I'm not changing my dentist to go to lunch, right? You stick with your appointments. So if you make appointments for yourself, I feel like you keep them because it's an appointment. That's what you got to do. And then that builds a routine and habit. But Val and I were talking about, like, she's someone who does need to go out more and have more social interactions. And with 2 little kids at home, it's hard.
Right.
But it's so important. And my son's 9. I'm very fortunate that he's pretty self-sufficient at this age, And so what I've been able to do is make a goal for me. We go out with other families now after a basketball game or after a football game because the kids all love it. They're having the best time. And then the adults are there also. So being able to achieve that while I'm also family timing, it's like a win-win.
That's true. That's a good point.
And one thing too is I love that goal, or I love that about scheduling like your meal prep. And she told me about that when she came home from Florida. And it's Sunday. And she did it this past Sunday. She did it when she came home. I thought that was a great idea. And I think that is a great tip for anyone, quite frankly. Use it as almost like a doctor's appointment or something.
Yeah,
saying,
it's an appointment.
I'm going to meal prep at 11 o'clock, and it's going to take, how long is a doctor's appointment? Maybe an hour?
An hour. You get it done in an hour.
At that time. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And it can be for anything that you want to do, whether it's, I want to meditate. I definitely personally don't want to meditate. I know you guys like to do that. And that's wonderful. If I'm too much in my head, it's like a whole situation. So I am not ready to do that yet. When I am, I'll call you. But,
I got you.
Putting whatever it is as an appointment for yourself, that you wouldn't cancel on a doctor. You're not going to cancel on yourself. You do it.
Yeah. I heard this thing the other day actually about that. And it was pretty much just saying that if your boss asked you to do something, or you had a deadline for something, or you had an appointment or something, you would keep it. But when you say to yourself you're going to do something, you have a tendency to blow it off. Why? It's because you don't have a sense of respect for yourself enough to value your own time as much as you're valuing other people's time. And
it's that priority. It's that priority.
Prioritize your time and yourself. And people don't prioritize themselves anymore. Everyone's just running on fumes all the time and trying to make everyone else happy, And
it's
not
hard.
Life. Yeah.
It's not okay to do that. I think people, I think COVID, that whole
for sure
time frame, I think a lot of people possibly were able to prioritize themselves, which is amazing. And maybe they stuck with it. But I think a lot of people also, in some sense, were like, oh, life's short. You never know. I want to do other things. And I think it changed a lot of mindsets. For me personally, it really made me want to do everything I possibly can for my family. Right. And just make sure that they're okay and they're healthy and they're happy. And I think sometimes moms take a backseat,
right.
And I don't want to say that moms only want taking care of the kids. Please let me make sure that's not what I'm expressing at all. Dads are very much involved, but I think that dads can take care of themselves more at times
Mm-hmm.
than a mom, strictly because the mom is who the kid's going to want. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And I think that that's hard. I think that women have a tendency to, like, a few months ago, I asked my husband, it was like noon. And I asked my husband, I yelled up to his office, like, what are you thinking about right now? Like, literally, what are you thinking about right now, this moment? He's
the
like,
dangerous game you're playing, Gabby.
Yeah. You play with fire.
Dangerous game.
he's like, the sale that I'm making, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, who is Dylan sitting with at lunch? Did he eat his banana? What time is Carline going to be today? It's going to be, we're going to get sports on time. Oh, I have to do this contract. Oh, I have to call that person. Like 150 things, right?
Yeah.
That's what women are. Eric's like, I don't know who he's sitting with at lunch. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I don't either, but that's why I'm worrying about it, right? Like, did he do okay in a spelling test? Like, those are just mom instincts. You can't turn that off, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. And I can see that, like, even in my own house, my wife does that a lot, where she'll maybe not that, but she won't, like, she'll do the few things here and there, like she'll go out to get her manicure or whatever like that, or whatever, go get coffee with her sister or whatever it may be. But it's like, you got to do more of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, because like for me, like, I'm like, all right, you know, I make time, I'm working out, I'm meditating, I'm doing whatever the things I want to do, right? You know, saunas, cold, whatever it is. So I make time to do those things. Working with BG every night, pretty much for the past 2 months now. You know what I mean? But like, she sees that, and you know, she definitely has no issues with it. But like, at the same time, it's like, you can do that stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, you're able to do whatever you want too, right? Exactly. Yeah. Like, leave me with the kids. Like, go out for the day and go shopping. Do whatever you like. Go see a movie. Go do that. Like, there needs to be more regularity in that. And this may sound douchey, but like, specifically with women, like you said, 100%. Kids want their moms. Like, that's how it is. Like, that's how it is in my house. You know, my wife could yell at the kids. They'll walk away and cry, and then yell her name to cut. You know, instead of me. Like,
absolutely,
you know like,
absolutely.
So it's like you guys have a different level of responsibility in a family setting too. So that's a burden, and
it is.
There needs to be some self-care on that. So it's cool that you have like the self-care Sunday stuff and those kind of things, because that's a big thing.
You have to do it.
Yeah, and you know, I'm gonna echo those same sentiments, because actually, and I'm pretty sure you know about this too, Gabby. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, Val and I had went out with a couple of friends of ours, and they had to get back to their babysitter because they could only watch their kids for a little bit. And so Val and I had a very, I would say, passionate conversation, and it was stemming from how she felt like she was in a funk for probably about a month. Where it was just very stressful. You know, she was going to a stressful job. She was leaving that stressful job, coming home to a stressful home where she had to, felt obligated to, hi, Eric.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
We'll edit you out. Wait, well, I know you're talking about something serious, but I'm going to plug my computer into it. So we're going to take a TV timeout.
Okay.
Sorry. I know you're getting ready.
I think I know where I'm at. No,
yep. There you go.
At least he had his clothes on. That would have been awkward.
Normally he doesn't. He probably only put them on because I'm in here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
You can fix all that, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you were saying that Val and you had a passionate conversation.
Yes.
About this. She's stressed, work is hard, home is hard.
Home life. Yep. With the boys, I mean, Theo was in sleep regression. And so I was very transparent. I asked, were you still in a funk?
Yeah.
And she was very open about how she was feeling. And so I had made a comment, my mind always goes to fitness, you know, and she said that she doesn't see fitness like I do. Like me, it's a need. I need it because I know that if I don't have it in my life, or if I don't work out, I'm not going to have the same mindset. I'm not going to be, in my mind, I'm not going to be a good father. I'm going to be a good husband, great worker. With her, it's not like that, And so she's like, yeah, she's in a funk. And so we said that you need to prioritize yourself. And I think this is where John, I know you're saying that women need to do kind of a better job of putting themselves first, prioritizing themselves. I agree with that 100%. But I also have to say that husbands, spouses, you also have to encourage them as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where I said to her that, hey, anything that you need, if you're feeling off, you go. Like, I got the kids, we love our kids.
Yeah.
But you also need to make sure that you're putting in an effort for yourself.
Right.
Because we want the best mama, and wife. We want a happy wife. And that was the thing, is I knew that she, through that conversation, of course, she told me that she wasn't happy. And that killed me as a spouse, because you want the best for the person that you love most.
Yeah.
But she has made incredible strides, and I can see that vivaciousness come back. And so I would just say, with my wife now prioritizing herself, man, spouses, just step up and be like, hey, you know what?
Take an hour.
I got you. Do something for you. Do something for you. Whatever makes you happy, do it. Because I think a lot of times it's almost expected. Like, perhaps the wife comes home, they make dinner, they get the kid. It's like, no, step up. We also made the kid as well, and tell them to get some time to themselves, because there's going to be some
Agreed.
Yeah. So I needed to say that, because I think we're all on the same page on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's any couple, right? Any couple, however it looks. Sometimes the man says something. We have good friends of ours who the dad is a total stay-at-home dad, and the mom is a kick-ass CEO of this incredible company, and she's out there jet-setting, and like, it's amazing. And he's the room dad right now, literally in our class, and it's wonderful. But she will cancel something on us and be like, hey guys, I'm not gonna go to brunch. I'm gonna give Scott, the afternoon off. And like, it goes in any direction. Anyone needs that, right? From whatever they're doing. And I think it's super important, because not everyone's going to do it themselves. So that little extra push, is good. And
it's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
For sure.
And as everybody has probably picked up on, your energy is infectious, of course. You've got this work ethic. Yes. Yeah, I'm talking to you. No, I'm not talking to John. No, I'm just kidding. But you do. John, you have great energy.
Yeah, John's great.
You have a phenomenal work ethic. You're incredibly passionate and caring.
Thank you.
Where would you say are some of your biggest influences?
So, my mom, first and foremost, was one of the biggest influences in my life. My parents got divorced happily, and we had I have like a very different divorce experience. A lot of people, it was a very happy divorce. We vacationed as a family for years to come, and they became the best of friends. So, but they did divorce. So she was, for all intents and purposes, a single mom raising two kids. And my brother and I are both adopted, so that came with an added component to raising us. But she was a head creative writer at an amazing advertising agency in New York City. And so I grew up on a lot of sets and in that marketing space, and seeing that, happen all the time in front of me. So in terms of having an eye for that, I think that she was a big influence in that aspect, where I love, when it comes to real estate, I love the staging portion of the houses. I love the marketing for obviously what I'm doing now, that kind of stuff. So I saw all of that. Like, spoiler alert, milk in cereal commercials is glue, right? So it's like, it's all these different things that you learn when
ruining our childhood, Gabby.
I know.
It's out the window.
Yeah.
So she was a huge influence in that aspect of, like, I guess, sparking something in me that was like that, but also just her hustle. The show Mad Men, like, that was literally the life that she was living. That was her job. She was the woman at the man's table, and she always made me feel like it doesn't matter. That's awesome. And this was, years ago, when women weren't necessarily out there doing the entrepreneurial stuff as much. It was always, do it. You know what, you want to do it? Go do it. Do it better than he's doing it. Do it better than whoever you want to be on top of is doing it. And so she was a huge influence, in that aspect, just me growing up and wanting to start something. And I think that right now, a lot of my friends I lean on, is influential. I have a good friend I went to college with. He's actually one of Eric's, long story, he ended up being one of Eric's childhood friends. He's the one who set Eric and I up years ago. But he and I met in college, and we had our fun in college, and he was in the right place at the right time. He started working for the Mets. And then he just got this other internship and did this, and, and now he just opened up a company years ago, and he's been in Forbes under 40, I think twice now. Like, he's just,
oh, wow.
grown. It's Michael Schreck for CSMG. Phenomenal. Oh, you actually met him, Brian.
Yeah.
Mike.
Correct.
Mike. Yeah. So, he's that hustle, and I'll call him now. I'm still good friends with him and his wife, and I'll call him and run ideas by him. And, we talk all the time. And I think that finding people in your circle and your sphere to kind of influence you along the way is good.
Good point.
And then I went to a private school. When I was in 4th grade, I was told by my teacher that I would probably never read properly, that I didn't get it. Right. And this was years ago. There weren't too many diagnoses, the things. Yes. But like just the time frame, it was like, oh, she's a class clown, ADD, give her Ritalin. Like, nobody did anything. Right. But she's never going to read. Right. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I read a 27-page document today from a huge network from their lawyers, and I'm just fine. So like, it's okay. So I ended up in private school, and I had a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors that just lifted me up. And for those, that's what got me through from 6th grade to through college, that I still kept in touch with and found that,
That's awesome.
Yeah. That is cool.
Awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. So the last thing I just want to say, before we talk about where everyone can find you on social media and everything.
Yeah.
I personally wanted to thank you for, you being a resource for John and I.
Oh,
but I also wanted to acknowledge you for, don't do this. Sorry, I was getting a little emotional.
You're going to make me cry?
The relationship you have with my wife. You care so deeply.
Cry.
Don't make me cry, because you're making me cry.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cry, but this.
But, you're not just best friends. You guys are sisters, and I see it. You care so deeply for each other, and like, I see it. And you guys have been there for the triumphs, but also the downs. And I just want to say, I, as her husband, appreciate that so much, because I know how much you love each other. And it means a lot to me personally that she has such a great friend like you. So I just want to say that.
It's 9:45 at night. I can't be crying.
I was going to say, God damn, BG. Usually you have like these questions that stump our guests, and instead you're making them cry now. So I'm like, what's next, dude? What are you going to do?
Hell, you never know what you're going to get.
It's people like that, though. You want to have people in your life that are just family that you've chosen, and day one, when I met Val at soccer practice before, college started, she was sitting up, and I joke all the time, like, she was a bitch. Like, she was sitting at the other end of the table, and I was like, who is this bitch? Like, I don't want to talk to her. And like 2 days later, we're like moving mattresses into her room. We're roommates now, and then it's been inseparable for 20-something years,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, you find those friends, and they're special,
Yeah, absolutely.
I will be totally honest. There's a lot of things I tell Val that I do that she's like, I have no idea what you mean, but I'm supporting you 100%. So that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
She needs someone to talk to your oatmeal and apples and complain about that every day. So I'm here for it.
Or my stinky vegetables.
I'm here
for it a lot, but
I'm here for it.
Well, I echo all what BG said. I appreciate all the time you give us and
of course,
all the advice.
I appreciate you guys listening. John, you literally, I think it was the next day after we had like a brainstorming session, you had posted something, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Sorry, I yelled at you.
You're good. Rip it. Yeah, you're good.
The first F-bomb. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I own it.
Yeah,
but it's true. I saw that, and I wrote you, and I was like, that was it. Like that, and
No, that stuff makes us feel good. It makes us feel like we're doing the right stuff, and having a trusted resource like you is huge. So
well,
thanks
you
for that. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
This was probably the most fun we've had recording, I think, BG. Like, no joke, no bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
this is probably the most fun episode we've had so far. So thank you.
Oh, this was great. We need to get Dawn in here, and
we do.
We'll go into her studio, and we'll look more professional and done.
That works.
And,
hey, let's do it.
You know, hopefully we'll have our shaker bottles by then.
Yeah, something you can wear. So they'll get you a shaker bottle. Yep, absolutely.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Gabby.
I do want to remind everyone to hop on, your Instagram and check out your caca video so that they can make their own healthy.
And you know what? Where can everyone listening find you?
So absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Stars Marketing Group. It's a big gold star is our Instagram. But that's the best place to find Stars and what we're all doing. And then just starsmarketinggroup.com.
There you go.
Super simple. Keep it simple.
Keep it
simple. Keep it simple.
Well, thank you, Gabby. Appreciate it. This is great.
Of course. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate the time too. And just keep kicking ass, keep putting yourself out there because you're gonna make it.
Awesome.
Thanks
so much.
Here. Full faith.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. See you soon.
See ya.